All right, everybody. Thank you for being here, part of Golden Era. Everybody that's part of our community. We have Coach Panda here. Thank you for being here, Coach Panda. It's my pleasure to interview you. How you doing?
Good, good. Thank you to Golden Era for having us and to all its followers.
As you know, Coach Panda, outside of the channels in Puerto Rico, we're one of the channels that speaks most about Subriel Matias and everything that's going on with him. We appreciate that the fact that he wants to fight the best and make these fights happen. So that you and by the way, congratulations for taking him to a world champion. That can be understated. So congratulations for that, Panda.
Thank you very much. And yes, Uriel is a fighter who is willing to fight anybody. He still, has the old school mentality of fighting the best. It's kind of hard sometimes when you're not a high profile fighter like he is. He's not the Teofimo yet. He's not the Devin Haney. He's not those type of fighters who sell on social media and those type. But I think he's probably one of the most dangerous fighters at the 140-pound weight level. And I think that Subriel is ready for any of those names that we mentioned. In that top list as world champions.
Okay. With that said, before we get into Subriel Matias and other questions that I have, and I have some interesting questions for you, but what did you think about the fight between Teofimo Lopez and Jermaine Ortiz? Who you think won?
My personal opinion, I think Jermaine Ortiz won. A lot of people tend to forget that boxing is a science. Boxing is not just a Subriel Matias, a William Cepeda, Pitbull Cruz type style. Boxing is also won by scientifically won by points and that type of thing. I think Lopez. Ortiz frustrated Lopez. He was a fighter who made Lopez miss quite a few punches. And kept him busy. Even made Teofimo stand in the middle of the ring at times and call him forward because of his frustration. I know Teofimo was upset. He says that that Jermaine was running, but can you imagine if every fighter was made just perfectly for you, then there is no necessity for any coaches or any strategic work. That's why there's strategy. There's strategies. Like Jermaine, he had a good strategy. Obviously, it wasn't enough to impress the Las Vegas judges. Um, but in my personal opinion, I think it was a close fight. But I give the edge to Jermaine Ortiz.
100%, coach. And I think people forget that boxing was made also for people and for boxers who don't have the power to knock out people and to make it just, right? You were able to use different strategies to win a fight. And people think it's, you just go there, destroy, obliterate, and that's it. That's all boxing is.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned something this morning on my social media. We tend to forget fighters like Ivan Calderon, a Puerto Rican who made 16 defenses to his world title. He was a fighter who had no pop, but he was a great, boxer. Or even if we go back to our Mexican people like Miguel Canto, who made 15 defense to his world title and had, no knockouts. But he was just a fighter who was, like his name said it, el maestro, the teacher. So there are a lot of fighters out there. Macho Camacho,
Ruben
so many other
Olivares.
fighters.
Yeah,
Just
Ruben Olivares fought like that
Ruben
with a stick.
Olivares,
Yeah.
those type of fighters who still became greats in the sport. But I think after the Barreras and the Morales, everybody wants to see that type of fight. Where if you're not bleeding, if you're not knocked out, but me as a coach, I think to know a little bit about the science of boxing, and I don't want to see my fighter, you know, every fight, leave with a cut or bleeding and things like that. I mean, I know sometimes it's a necessity, and I know that those are the fighters who the fans want to see. But sometimes winning is winning.
That is correct, coach. Okay. So let's go into the meat of this questions that I have for you. But first and foremost, do you think Teofimo Lopez will fight Subriel Matias?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think any fighter. I'm those guys that don't believe that any fighter at this level are afraid of anybody. I believe that there's risk. that are taken, and that you do what's best for you as a team. Obviously, if they put Gervonta Davis before Subriel, he's going to take Gervonta because it's a higher paid fight. Or if they put a Rolly Romero or someone else, it's a higher paid fight and a little lower risk. Is what I'm saying. Is Suriel is a high risk fighter with a low reward. But I mean, I don't think that it's Teofimo who doesn't want to take the fight. I know fighters talk back and forth. So as Suriel and Teofimo and those guys. But at the end of the day, they all have a team behind them, and the team is who makes decisions. And I'm telling you, as a person and professional, I'm part of Suriel's team, and I can tell you that Top Rank, did not guarantee us a fight with Teofimo Lopez, and that's why our team decided to take an alternative route with Matchroom. Maybe Teofimo has doesn't know about it. I don't know. I don't know how close he is to his team or what, but I can guarantee you, that Top Rank did not guarantee us a fight with him. So it's why Juan Ivan Orengo from Fresh Production decided to take an alternative route with Eddie Hearn and Matchroom.
One thing I do know is the United States, the boxer has the last decision. It's true that promoters do decide, they can't decide. They can choose what boxer they want. But at the end of the day, the one who has to sign the contract is the boxer. So if the boxer wants to take an alternative, then they're going to do that. And I think that's what Teofimo Lopez did. And I don't think they wanted to fight Subriel Matias. Under U.S. law, you cannot force a boxer to push. You can't force anybody to do something they don't want to do. But I don't think Teofimo Lopez will fight Subriel Matias. I don't think so. But what do you think about his comments talking about Puerto Rico, saying that Puerto Rico? You think he's doing it? Is he's doing it because he wants to hype up the fight, or you think he's doing it just because he's mad?
I just think he has no brains. Sometimes all that talking and things. Yesterday he said so much without saying anything. You don't disrespect the country. It's between you and the fighter, not a country. He disrespected a country, a boxing country like Puerto Rico. And we know that they're hardcore fans, just like us Mexicans. We take a lot of things personal. And I don't think he realized what he said. And things like that. That Puerto Ricans were easy. It wasn't so easy yesterday, and Jermaine Ortiz has Puerto Rican blood in him. Things like that. I mean, he also comes from Brooklyn, New York, where the population is very big in Puerto Rican. So, I think sometimes we just have to sit back and think of things that we say before we say.
Absolutely. I think, Coach, you cut out a little bit here. I think, Jay, are you there? Let me see. I don't think. I think Jay cut up here. Okay, are you there? Okay, yeah, you
Yeah,
cut up
we're
there.
we're in
Go
we're in
ahead.
we're in Hiquipilco, brother. So the internet is not great up here.
No, it's okay. I got you. I got you. All right, Jay. So this is my first question. And this is something that I want to make sure I understand because there's a lot of confusion here in the United States. It says, is Juan Arango the promoter and the manager of Subriel Matias, or is there someone else involved?
No, Juan Orengo is the promoter, and manager is Pedro Cruz, which they belong to the same
Oh,
company. They're business partners. So Pedro is the manager of Suriel, and the promoter is Juan Orengo, who is the promoter of Fresh Productions. Also promotes Manny Rodriguez, Kevin Gonzalez, and a lot of other fighters out there.
okay. I see. All right. Normally in the United States, you can be a promoter and a manager at the same time, so it makes sense that he doesn't have the same role. Nobody talks about Pedro. Everybody talks about Juan Arango, so that's good to know. All right. The other question that I have is, I'm trying to talk to Bill Haney's camp here, but Bill Haney said that he had talked to Peter Kahn, okay, and they had a conversation. Now, I tried to contact Peter Kahn's team, and I contacted somebody in Peter Kahn's team, and they told me that they did indeed speak, or they spoke to Bill Haney, okay. So Peter Kahn has never denied that he spoke to Bill Haney, and either Bill Haney's lying or Peter Kahn is lying. Does Juan Arango or Cruz, do they know Peter Kahn?
Yeah, they probably know him, but they have absolutely nothing to do with him in boxing. They don't have any business in boxing. I believe they both have the same lawyer as what they have. or something of that nature, um, or they have a lawyer in common. But as far as Subriel Matias, his team is Juan Ivan Orengo and Pedro Cruz.
Okay. So, why do you think Peter Khan hasn't denied or publicly stated that he didn't talk to Bill Haney?
What was the question? I'm sorry.
Why do you think Peter Khan hasn't stated in his account, in his X or whatever, that he actually didn't talk or didn't speak to Bill Haney? Because I find that very strange.
I
Like
could
if somebody talked to me and they didn't speak to me, I would publicly say I didn't speak.
Well,
Uh,
maybe they did. I don't know. Maybe they did talk, and maybe I mean, just my thinking out of the box. Maybe Peter Khan told him a number, and maybe thought, maybe if I can get this number and I can contact Juan and say I made this fight for this amount. I don't.
mm-mm.
I mean, I
Okay.
couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you. Me and Bill are good friends. I couldn't tell you that
Okay.
Bill's lying. I don't know. I don't know Mr. Peter Khan. I've seen him a lot of times in fight cards and things like that. Maybe Bill called him because he has a lot of Puerto Ricans like Sanders Sayas, Yanquiel Rivera, Moncho Libron, and those type of guys. So maybe he thought, hey, he has this Puerto Ricans as well. I don't know,
Hmm.
but I mean,
Okay.
I couldn't. I'd be disrespectful if I came here and told you that Bill was lying or that Mr. Khan was lying. I don't know. I don't know if they spoke or if they didn't. But what I
Okay.
could guarantee you is that Mr. Khan has nothing to do with Subriel Matias.
Okay. Okay. All right. That's fair enough. Okay. Here's another question, Panda. So Bill Haney has done fights and negotiated fights with Jorge Linares, Jojo Diaz, George Cambosos, Vasilo Machenko, and Regis Prograis, and never did one promoter or manager said that Bill Haney screamed at them at the time. Okay, I've never heard this before. Juan Arango was inside a club apparently when Bill Haney he called Bill Haney or Bill Haney called him. Is it possible that because Juan Arango doesn't speak English and he was inside a club with music, because apparently that's what Bill Haney was stating, there was a misunderstanding as regard how Juan Arango interpret the situation?
The first time, I wasn't on the other line. The second time I was on the line. I'm who connected them. We can't forget that Mr. Orengo doesn't live off boxing. He lives off music. So
Okay.
he's a music promoter, and he also has nightclubs.
Okay.
That's what he does in Puerto Rico, and maybe that's where he got him. But when we spoke with Bill, Bill was getting loud, and at the end of the day, I'm like I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Bill's a millionaire. Juan's a millionaire. Bill has a world champion. Juan has a world champion. Bill thinks he has the best in the world. Juan thinks he has the best in the world. And you don't negotiate, within 5 minutes. You don't negotiate a fight in 5 minutes. Either any businessman knows that. You and me, we don't have to be in business, but we know that we cannot negotiate, a fight within 2 minutes. You're not going to impress Juan Orengo and telling him that this is your best payday ever. Juan doesn't live off boxing. So I mean,
Okay.
he wants the best. He's going to sit down and he's going to want to have a conversation. You're not going to impress him telling him, "Oh, we're giving you an opportunity." You give an opportunity to somebody who doesn't have a belt. And sometimes people tend to forget that, and say, "Oh, Suriel's never made that amount of money before, but he's never fought Devin Haney. Oh, he's never made that amount of money, but he's never fought those guys." Every one of those guys have a desire to one day make a amount of money. Maybe it's not the $4 million that they were claiming that it was. But hey, they want to make. But Juan is not going to tell you over the phone and with me on the other line and tell you, oh, this is what I want, and then to find out that it's going to have a lot of pay-per-view sales or whatever. They want to sit down and negotiate. That's how business is done in anything. You negotiate. It's not done over the phone and just because someone's screaming at you and telling me, give me a price to fight the boogeyman. Give me a price to fight the boogeyman. No, give me a price. And when you're talking over someone, that's not how a business is made.
Okay. So I'm going to follow up that question with the following. Uh, the first person to contact you guys, was it Juan Arango contacting Bill Haney or Cruz, or was it Bill Haney trying to contact you guys?
No, Bill Haney contacted Mr. Orengo while Orengo was in Miami Bar, which is his nightclub, in Cataño, Puerto Rico. one of his most, popular nightclubs. He was there. And then, the next day, I was able to connect them on a three-way call,
Okay.
during the day. And Bill wanted him to give him a price immediately and tell him
Okay.
what he wanted, at that specific time.
Okay.
Orengo invited him to Arizona, to a fight that we had in Arizona, which was a matchroom card,
Okay.
and told him, we can sit down and discuss it in Arizona. Subriel was going to be there and things.
And you were on the phone when they talked, when
Yes,
you
sir.
were on the phone.
I
Okay.
was holding the party, the three line or three-way
Okay.
line. But yeah, so that's what it was. So I don't know what Orengo did after that. I don't know what Bill did after that. But I
Okay.
know that Orengo told him, "I'll call you back." Maybe he wasn't impressed.
Yeah, according to Bill Haney, he never got called back,
And he
according to
wasn't
what we
impressed.
heard.
Simple as
Okay.
that. You don't need math or you don't need to be a smart guy to know that he just wasn't impressed.
Okay. And let me ask you, do you know what offer did Juan Orengo gave
You don't give
Bill
up.
Haney?
You don't give offer over phones, brother. You make things. So there was no offer. He wanted an offer immediately.
But
Within a
but if
30
you go
second
to
phone call.
But Jay, if you go to Arizona, obviously Bill is going to have to go also with Eddie Hearns because that's his promoter. So that was not really an informal meeting. That was not a formal meeting. You guys went to Arizona to see a fight. Is this correct? I mean,
Yeah.
you weren't necessarily there to hang
No,
up with
we were
Eddie
there.
Hearns
We
and
were
Bill
there.
Haney.
We were there for a fight that we had.
Okay.
And
Okay.
Mr. Orengo asked him
So
if he
you
wanted,
invited him there.
we
Okay.
can if he can come to Arizona.
Okay.
Everybody was there. Subriel was there, so he asked if you can come to Arizona and we can talk here. We can talk, like gentlemen, face to face,
Right.
or maybe in an office, or maybe even meet Eddie, or maybe even go to a restaurant. I don't know, or give him some time. But
Right.
I don't
Okay.
do
Okay.
business over the phone.
Okay. Okay, so you guys invited him, but also technically Eddie Hearns would have to show up too as well because that was I mean,
I
you
don't
have to
know.
have the promoter
I
if
don't
you're
know.
talking about an
Is
offer.
Eddie Hearn is Devin's promoter, or is Devin his own promoter? Because the way it seems, it's Devin's his own promoter.
Well, he's in Matchroom, so I mean, it seems like he's working with Matchroom, but I could be wrong. I don't know.
Because
Anyway,
Subriel's promoter is his own promoter. So, and it seems like Mr. Haney is his own promoter.
he's
So
the manager. He is the manager because he's not the promoter. It's illegal to be promoter and manager at the same time in United States. All right, so this is the other question I have for you. Uh, was an offer from your team ever sent to Arnold Barbosa, or was he ever contacted?
they were the Golden Boy, Top Rank. Everybody was contacted. I don't know about Arnold Barboza. I'm not. I'm not 100% sure. I don't know. All I was informed was that Top Rank did not guarantee a fight with Teofimo Lopez.
Okay,
Is why they took the route with Matchroom.
I took them.
So
Okay,
I don't know what agreement or what they did with Top Rank. I mean, with Golden Boy. I couldn't tell you. I know Pedro told me that Golden Boy didn't seem interested.
okay,
So I don't know if they offered or they called or what they did. So that was all Pedro's words to me was Golden Boy didn't seem interested.
okay. So you guys did try to contact Golden Boy. That's what you're
Don't
saying.
put words in my mouth. I'm telling you. Pedro told me. I don't know.
Oh, Pedro told you.
Yeah,
Okay,
Pedro told
so
me
okay.
don't make interviews that are not.
Well, I'm not. I'm asking because I'm
Then
gonna
you
have
talk,
Arnold.
then you
I'm
guys
gonna
chop
have.
stuff up.
I'm gonna have Arnold Barbosa here, so I'm gonna ask him too.
Arnold's a gentleman, so don't chop stuff up, brother. I'm
I
not a
just
kid.
asking the question. I want to know if you guys contact him or not because he wanted to fight Subriel Matias. He seemed like he was ready to fight Subriel Matias, and
He
he was
isn't.
ready to do it.
He told me that as well. But like again, I
Yeah.
said I'm just the trainer, so I didn't contact anybody.
Okay.
Pedro told me. I don't know if Pedro called or what they did. His words were Golden Boy did not seem interested. So I don't know that might tell you they did or I don't know.
Okay. Okay. We'll leave it like that because you're the coach, so obviously you're coaching. You know a little bit of things, but you're not in the negotiations. Gotcha. All right. So other question I have. So Prograis said he would fight Matias in the press conference after he lost against Devin Haney. Prograis has multiple world championships. Why not fight him instead of Liam Paro?
Ask Matchroom. We'll fight Progress. He's coming off a loss. You know, we rather fight a guy who's coming off a win. You know, so I mean,
Okay.
but that's
Okay.
what Matchroom offered.
Okay.
That's what That's off. We know Matchroom offered a 3 deal fight. And we believe and hope that in that 3 deal fight we can get maybe a Devin Haney, we can get a Richard Hitchinson or those type of guys. So
Okay. Okay.
remember Matchroom has good top 140s as well. They got Dalton Smith, they got Leon Paro, they got Regis Progress, they got Devin Haney, they got all these guys. So I mean,
So from your end, I mean, you obviously you might know. Obviously, you're not the manager or the promoter, but you don't know if they try to contact to make that fight because Regis Progress. Because I think that would have been better for Subriel Matias to fight him instead, and maybe try to do that somewhere else. I mean, that would it's just people know Regis Progress,
we,
Liam
we,
Paro.
we tried it. We tried and do it before Regis Progress was a free agent. Um,
Okay.
Sam was his manager at the time. That I can talk forward because that again I was on the 3-way call.
Okay.
I told Sam, and there was an offer made to Regis Progress,
Okay.
to come and fight, and he kept telling Subriel, "Oh, you got to win a title first. You got to do this first."
Okay.
So maybe Subriel don't want to give him the opportunity now. You know.
Okay. Okay.
Now he lost, so maybe Subriel wants to tell him you need to win something, or you just
Okay.
lost. That I can vouch for because that I was on the phone call when they offered him a very good amount of money, to come to Puerto Rico and fight Subriel. And Sam at that time was his manager or his whatever he was to him, and his advisor or whatever. And he kept saying, "No, we're not coming to fight in Puerto Rico." And Yomi was telling him whatever top rank, at that time he was going with top rank or whatever, ESPN is what it was. So whatever ESPN offers you, I'll give you the double.
Okay, here's another question for you then. A fight with Barboza, or who is an American or Progress, will generate a lot more money than fighting Liam Paro, regardless of the venue or location. I mean, they are American fighters. Would you think money wise would have been better than Liam Paro try to push for that fight?
Yeah, I mean, I personally, if you're asking me, I would love to fight Arnold Barboza. I would like to fight, those guys because I know it's a better fight for Subriel. It's a more meaningful fight for Subriel. It doesn't take the fact away that Leon Paro is a dangerous fighter who just came off beating a good fighter like Montana Love,
Okay.
and those type of things. But I personally, if you're asking me my personal opinion, I would love him to fight Arnold Barboza. I think Arnold Barboza deserves the opportunity. I think he's worked his way up there. I don't think he's a bum. I don't think he's a guy who just disrespects people. I think he's earned his way up there, and is ready to fight anybody. If my team gave me the opportunity to choose, I would give Arnold Barboza the opportunity to fight. But at the end of the day, they know what deals they made and what benefited them most economically. I don't think that, like I told you, Juan is a businessman. I don't think that he's brainless to know, okay, if we're gonna make more money here and go somewhere else where there's no money. So I think
Mm.
come to a great deal, or they're getting ready to close a good deal. So that's what it was. But I also think Golden Boy has worked with Fresh Productions before. I work with Golden Boy. I have fighters from Golden Boy. So I mean, Golden Boy works with other promoters. So if they were interested in Arnold to fight, they could have made a call too, or reached out. They know me personally. They know Mr. Orengo personally, and they could have worked it out.
Okay, so what you're saying is they didn't contact you guys, but you're not sure that
As
you try to
for as
contact them as well?
as for my intellectual, from Pedro telling me they don't seem interested, that's because they didn't contact anybody in our team.
Okay. All
So
right. Well,
that's that means so a lot of times fighters have to ask their promoters and things. They got to sit down and ask questions as well. I can't tell you a lot about Subriel, but I can tell you anything you want to know about William Cepeda. Just
okay.
as far as when Shakur offered us a deal. They shot a deal at William Cepeda. Over just the facts. Oscar looked at it and spoke to us and said it's not worth it. This is not a deal that's worth it. This is not economically, nothing is worth it on here.
Did
You
you know
know,
how much they actually sent? What was the price?
I think it was $1 million or something like that.
$1 million.
Yeah, $1 million or something like that. But I mean,
Has William Cepeda made more than $1 million before?
no, but it's not always just about that. I don't know what the promoters are looking for.
Okay.
At that time, Oscar said none of them were world champions. That was Oscar's thing. He said none of you are world champions. I want you to win a world title, him win a world title, and you guys unify, and that's going to make $4 or $5 million.
Okay.
So, I mean,
Okay. I
that
got you.
that's his thing. So that was Oscar's. We respect it. But like I told you, I don't think any fighter is afraid to fight anybody. I don't think people join boxing to be afraid of people. You know,
Unless they lose their zeros, though.
I mean that's a Mayweather effect, man. We're not here. We're human beings, and one day we're gonna lose. Suriel's already lost. He's lost before. You know, we've lost a lot of things in life, man, and we're here. Boxing is that's what it is. You're gonna win some, you're gonna lose some. Hopefully we never experience it, but it's the Mexicans say está cabrón.
Okay. No problem. No problem, Jay. All right. So, who proposed fighting in Puerto Rico? Did Juan Orengo speak about fighting in Puerto Rico before? Is that an idea you guys had like long time ago?
That's a promise that was made to Subriel Matias before winning the world title. That was a promise made to Subriel by Mr. Orengo, and told him, Suriel, if you win this title, I'm going to take you back to your first. He actually promised him for his first title defense in Puerto Rico. But since remember that Subriel won a vacant world title, so he had to fight the mandatory, and it went to the bid, to the purse bid, and all of that. So they took it. PVC took it to Las Vegas. But so I think Juan is a man of his word, and he wants Suriel, and we know personally as a team that Suriel will fill the Coliseum up in Puerto Rico, and so that's what Orengo wants to do.
Okay. So, my next question to you, saying that you wanted to fight in Puerto Rico, which is a new thing, and it's always good for Puerto Rican boxing, is the following. So, Subriel Matias is the IBF champion. Subriel Matias does not have enough stardom to call fights in Puerto Rico. When I'm talking about American fighters, okay? Do you think that might have been a reason other boxers haven't accept fighting against them, which also, help him get bigger fights than fighting in Puerto Rico? Because fighting in Puerto Rico is that because you said that prior to the IBF, you're already thinking of fighting in Puerto Rico. So there's a chance that other boxers, if you're planning to fight in Puerto Rico, might not accept it because of that.
But you're contradicting yourself. And so are we here for stardom, or are we here for pace?
Well, I'm just asking the question because when you're fighting in Puerto Rico, you're obviously in your territory, so maybe fighters don't want to fight there.
So that's the thing, Juan, we call him Yomi. So Yomi is offering, Yomi is offering an amount that they're not going to make to fight, at the MGM Grand. So that's what I'm saying is that they're not coming here for peanuts. They're not coming here to fight for anything. I know as for a fact that when Teofimo offered Subriel to fight for 2 months later, anybody in their right mind knows that a world champion doesn't fight 2 months after. That anybody who knows about science, or anybody who knows about a sport, knows that champions don't fight. Especially a fighter like Subriel, who goes through an intensive camp, who takes a lot of punishment during fights. That's not going to fight 2 months after. So
well, in the 30s and 40s, they used to fight actually 3 times or 4 times a month.
We're not in the 30s and 40s. There's a lot of dead people in the 30s and 40s. The WBC actually made about 52 years ago. They made a program that they stopped doing a 15 rounds because of the 30s and 40s.
Yeah, National Boxing Association rules. I got you. All right. So wouldn't it make more sense, though, Coach Panda, to make this fight in the Madison Square Garden in the East Coast? Because there's a lot of Puerto Ricans there. Wouldn't that give a bigger stardom to Subriel Matias to do it there instead of Puerto Rico?
Yeah, absolutely. Who's going to pay that? I mean, if Matchroom says that we're going to do it at the MGM Grand or the Madison Square Garden, then that's where they're going to do it at the end of the day. So they're waiting on a deal. That's just what Orengo's trying to work out. At the end of the day, Matchroom is going to make the decision that where they feel. I'm pretty sure Matchroom has a team of people who do take care of financial stuff, and they're going to see where it's more productive. That thing. But I mean, again, who's he gonna fight there? He got to fight a big name there as well.
Well,
You
Regis Progress would be good. I'm sure he would accept
Regis
Madison
can't sell
Square
out.
Garden.
Regis can't sell at his own home.
Okay, Panda, but now you're going into selling, and we want to see fights as boxing fans. I understand what you're
You're
saying.
contradicting yourself.
I'm not contradicting myself, but go
You're
ahead.
asking me about fights that sell. Subriel doesn't have that huge name to sell out of Madison Square Garden, especially with a fighter like a guy who can't sell out at his home. Subriel can sell out of Madison Square Garden with the Teofimo Lopez, with another Puerto Rican or a Mexican fighter. With Regis, come on, Regis can't sell out. And brother, we were in New Orleans. He couldn't.
So he wouldn't sell out in Madison Square Garden if you got a Regis Progress with all the Puerto Ricans and all the people from there.
Me personally, I don't think so. I don't think Subriel has that much people yet. I think Subriel is a small venue fighter still, and I'm saying it. I'm his coach. I'm saying it. I think he's now starting to build. I think people are now starting to believe in him. People are now starting to know Subriel Matias. But if he were to fight a Mexican fighter, I think he's gonna sell out. I think if he were to fight Teofimo Lopez, he's gonna sell out. That's why. That's why these people need these type of fighters. Like that.
But Teofimo's Honduran. Hondurans don't really buy pay-per-views.
He's from New York.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think Puerto Ricans are
really sold out before.
I can tell you one thing having this channel. Puerto Ricans love Subriel Matias, and they would definitely buy. I don't know if other people would, but definitely they would buy Subriel Matias in New York for sure. I can guarantee. Tri-state area, Puerto Ricans, no way, Panda. Come on.
I know they're gonna sell. Just like Manny Rodriguez. He fought Gary Russell in New York, and it was not a sellout. And look who was the main event. You had Deontay Wilder there. You had these type guys, but they weren't a sellout because they're not that big name yet. Because Gary Russell doesn't sell. And Manny, we have to realize he's not that big of a name. He's an incredible fighter, but he's not a big name. That name yet,
I would agree with that, Panda. Because Gary Russell Jr., it's interesting, right? Because he has this forward style, right, where he just breaks people down. Gary Antoine Russell, we're talking about, but for some reason, a lot of people say, and could you agree with me that they say, well, that style, that sells out, but now you're saying that style doesn't really sell out, even though it's Gary Antoine Russell Jr.
It depends who it is. As I'm saying, you have to have Ryan Garcia. He don't even have to fight for a bout. He's gonna sell out.
He's white. That's why.
He's
a white guy.
He's gonna fight. He's gonna sell out anywhere.
Yeah. He has. He has that marketing because he's a white fighter.
But I'm telling you,
not a lot.
So Subriel Matias is a guy who is now doing interviews. Where was Subriel Matias at 2 years ago? Not a lot of people knew him. He's doing interviews now. He's becoming known, and so he has to work his way to the top there.
Well, Coach, we were talking about Subriel Matias before Ergashev, so before Nowhere News him, so we were one of the channels.
You, Mill City, a lot of other guys, but the big, you didn't see ESPN talking about him. You didn't see a lot of these guys. You guys that are real boxing fans who love boxing, who are there to watch boxing. Behind the scenes. You know who Subriel Matias was. But a lot of people didn't. And now he's becoming known. He's becoming known because of his aggressive style. And another thing, why, is because he also has not only the Puerto Rican fan base, he has a Mexican fan base behind him. His camps he's done here in Mexico. His songs are Mexican songs, never forgetting his roots of being a Puerto Rican, but he has engaged in two cultures that at one time were rivals. And now together they're coming together and supporting Subriel Matias, supporting Manny Rodriguez. Puerto Rico has, Camarón Cepeda has Puerto Rico's full support. So as they have Mexico. They're in the heart of Mexico. They're not in Cancun, brother. They're not in Acapulco. They're up here in the mountain, the hills, where people make tortillas handmade, and there's no tourist city here, and where they still, this is Mexico. So the people here are in love with them. So I believe that this year it's going to be their year, and
it'll be their year.
And hopefully, man, that one day we can go and sell out the Madison. What else do I want? What else do I want for Subriel Matias to be like a Miguel Cotto, Tito Trinidad, to go out on his parade and people, and not just 20,000. I'm talking about hundreds and thousands of people, and him to paralyze the country like we did with Chavez, and they did with Tito Trinidad. He's gonna fight. Okay, nobody works that day. We're gonna watch the fight. But I still think he needs his time to get there.
Okay. And I'm gonna tell you one thing, Coach Panda. I don't know if you knew this, but this channel, we're really hated here. It's okay. We love people. But we were the ones who actually made David Benavidez versus Demetrius Andrade because both of them were very avoided. So I got in contact with Jose Benavidez and I gave the number of Demetrius Andrade, and that's when they started negotiating. And we were the first channel to push for that fight, and we made it happen. And we will definitely push, and we will push Teofimo to the limit here to make sure he fights Subriel Matias and also Devin Haney, which I'm pretty sure he will fight Subriel Matias. All right, so here's my questions for you. Here's another one that's interesting. Out of 1 out of 10, okay, 1 out of 10, what fights are the most difficult for Matias? I'm going to give you names, okay? So 10 being the highest, 0 being the lowest, obviously. Richards or Hitchens?
Richard is probably about a 7.
Oh, about a 7? Okay. Regis Prograis?
5.
Okay. Gary Antoine Russell Jr.?
About an 8.
By an 8, okay. Arnold Barboza?
Ah, it's a tough fight while it lasts. It's
What is that?
because Barno's not gonna run from nobody. So you know, I don't think Arnold has the power to hurt Subriel.
Okay.
And backwards, I think Subriel has the power to hurt him. Shit, Arnold's a hell of a fighter though. You know,
So
and
what number, Panda? Give me a number.
man, I'd say same as a Richard Hitchens, or I mean a Gary Russell, maybe a
An
7,
8?
8, an 8.
So you would say Gary Russell is more dangerous
Yeah,
than
Gary Russell has power.
okay.
Gary Russell has footwork. Gary Russell, comes from a boxing family. Gary Russell lives boxing. Gary Russell has IQ. He has a lot of things. But at the end of the day, I believe Gary Russell has what it takes for us to break him down.
Okay. Okay. Fair assessment. Okay, Devin Haney.
Devin Haney's a hell of a fighter. He's a young fighter, and I think it's going to be a 10 with Subriel. I think it's going to be his toughest fight to this day will be Devin Haney. Because of Devin Haney's movement, because of his intelligence, because of his IQ, because of those things. But I'm going to tell you one thing. All that screaming and all that stuff they do, be post fight and all that type of stuff, it doesn't get to our head. We're gangster too. We've been there. We've done that. You're not going to impress nobody. You're not going to push nobody out of their game plan. It doesn't work with us. But I think Devin Haney is probably Subriel Matias' toughest test.
Well, the promotional side of it, as we keep speaking about this fight, probably will help the fight in the end get bigger. So hopefully that's what happens. Okay. What about Teofimo Lopez?
I don't see Teofimo going past 6 rounds with Subriel.
What ranking do you give him? 10 out of 0?
4. He beats her ass for 3. He beats her ass for 3 rounds, then he gets stopped.
Oh, okay. So you think that's going to be an easy fight to Teofimo?
Not easy. There's no easy fights. They're world champions, but I think he gets stopped. I think he'll beat the shit out of us for 3 rounds. Where he's going to make Subriel look like a novice, and then he's just going to get caught with something dumb.
Okay. And what do you think about the fight before I get to who you think is going to win between Ronda Romero and Pitbull Cruz?
And they're both just 2 guys that just go out there. I mean, I don't like the way Romero fights. That's just my personal opinion. I think, his feet are wide open. He just throws. Pitbull showed that he has, some sort of defense, when he fought Tank, to be able to catch some of those hooks. I'm pulling for the Aztec Warrior, for Isaac Cruz. I believe that Isaac Cruz will become a world champion that day.
Isaac Cruz, I don't really like him because he's been avoiding a lot of fights in 130, and I do not like that. So I think this is a strategical thing. But do you believe Isaac Cruz, if he beats Ronda Romero, that he will fight Subriel Matias? You think that will happen?
Again, like I said, it's just it's a high risk fight for low, he's gonna want to look for the Gervonta Davis. He's gonna want to look for those fights, that he's
Mm.
looking for, for this whole time. He hasn't fought in how long after Giovanni Cabrera, just trying to look for one single fight, and it finally got him to the point where he's gonna fight for the WBA world title, and things like that. But I don't think he'll fight Suriel anytime soon.
Okay. So I guess, and this will, and we're almost done here, Coach Panda. Thank you for being here and responding. I know I ask hard questions, but I have to ask hard questions, and I
All
will
right.
ask Bill Haney too.
That's what
Hard,
we're here for. I answer hard as well.
yeah, I know you do, and we appreciate it. And I will be asking Bill Haney these questions too, so don't worry about it. We go hardcore here. We're real boxing fans in this community. Okay, so uh, I guess we spoke about being scared. So I just told you about who you think is going to win, whatever. But out of, let's be honest here, if your perception of the situation, out of all of these fighters, from same 10 out of 0, 10 being the highest, 0 the lowest, who do you think realistically is going to fight Subriel Matias? And we're talking about, just being scared of his power, because Subriel Matias has power. He's blessed with that.
So are you talking about champions or just anybody?
I'm going to give you the names. So don't, so I'll give you the names here. So Richardson Hitchens, let's start with him.
I think Richard will fight Subriel. I think Richard believes in his heart and in his head that he can beat Subriel. I think he's seen flaws like everyone else has seen in Subriel, but I don't think he's ever been hit by anybody like Subriel.
You think he will beat Gustavo Lemos, the Argentinian?
Yeah, I think he's. I mean, I think I know Richard since he was a kid, and I think he's just very skillful. He's one of those guys that the better the fighter is in front of him, the better he becomes.
Okay, so that's good to know. So you believe Richard Hitchens will do. I will crucify Richard Hitchens here if he doesn't play Subriel Matias, because in an interview he had said that he was not willing to go to the IBF standards because of the catch weight, or the rehydration
I
clause, I
didn't,
would
I didn't,
say.
I didn't know that. So, I mean, a lot of people. That's another thing what people are scared about. That rehydration thing that the IBF does that we don't do. But the IBF does it. So,
Yeah, but I don't like that, because why are you ranking the IBF if you're not willing to make that fight? That makes no sense to me. Why are you ranking an organization that you're going to fight Gustavo Lemos to be a mandatory to Real Matias and not fight him?
see,
That will be weird.
I didn't hear that interview. So, I mean, that
Yeah.
makes me think a little now.
Yes. All right. So Regis Prograis.
Yeah, he'll fight Subriel. He wants to fight Subriel. He's been
Okay.
wanting to fight, but then again, I think about it like you said. When he was a world champion and Suriel wanted to fight, and there was money offered and things, he didn't take it. He said, "Oh, young boy, go get a bout." And then Suriel told him, "Okay, I got a bout. I'm waiting for you to win Devin Haney so we can fight." And he loses. So
Okay. So you think that he would do it, but because he didn't give you the opportunity to unify, then you guys have the belt right now. So you might say, well, right now we might not give you the opportunity to get a world title. But if you can't find a good fight, let's say the worst happens. I mean, that fight would have to be considered. I'm supposing.
yeah,
Uh, okay. What about Gary Antoine Russell? Because I'm going to have him here too. But what do you think about him? If is he?
I,
You
I
think?
I love him. I love the way he fights.
Okay.
I think he's an incredible fighter, and my respect for all the Russells, their father, who I had the pleasure of knowing. I had the pleasure of facing them, twice, and we were able to beat his brother Gary Antonio, or Gary, what is it?
Gary Antoine. Yeah.
Gary
Gary,
Antonio.
Gary, oh, Gary Antonio Russell. Yeah. There's Gary
Yeah, we
Antonio. Yeah.
beat Gary Antonio, in New York. What I'm telling you, under the Deontay Wilder card. Um, So man, they're just respectful people. They know boxing. I love the way he fights. I think he'll fight Subriel. But I think they're very. I think his brother Gary wrestles. The junior is very smart, and I know that fight was offered before, but they didn't come to terms financially.
Okay. So that's a good one. Um. Okay. What about Arnold Barbosa? You think he would do
I
it?
think Arnold Barboza signs the contract the day we signed it to him, and I don't think he cares about the price. I don't think he cares about the money. I don't think he cares where it is to fight. I think Arnold Barboza's real. I think he's real.
Okay.
I think he'll fight, and man, Arnold, if you're hearing me, I don't know you, personally. I don't, I shook your hand in Texas. Believe me, brother, I'm going to strive for everything I can do to get you that fight because he was calling Subriel out before anybody else was calling him out.
That's
Arnold
correct.
was there, and he was. I'll fight him. I'll fight him. So I got nothing but respect for people like that. I got nothing but respect for people like Frank Martin and those type of guys who quietly do things, and know that where business is made. So I like those guys, and I have no doubt that Arnold Barboza will sign the contract.
There's only been two guys that I've seen that called out Subriel Matias or spoke about him without them being asked the question, because that's very important. One was Arnold Barbosa, and the other one was Devin Haney.
Okay, yeah. I don't think, but because a lot of them are calling them out, but it's most of their dads, who do a whole lot of
No, no,
talking.
no, no. I'm talking about them actually bringing it up in the
Yeah, like
conversation
I told you,
without, yeah.
Devin Haney. I don't think Devin Haney's afraid of anybody. I had the privilege to take Devin Haney to his first international championship. In Dominican Republic, I coached Devin Haney to a gold medal in Dominican Republic as a USA boxing coach, trainer. I was in the Olympic Training Center as a coach, and I can tell you one thing, Devin. A lot of people think that no, but Devin is a smart fighter. We in that competition we beat Cuba, we beat a lot of fighters, and he's a great fighter. I don't think he's afraid, but I just think that parties need to calm down, sit down, and talk, and I think that fight can be made.
I'm pretty sure that fight will be made. If he wants to be, I mean, there's got to be an undisputed champion in 140. If there's no undisputed champion, that will be terrible for the sport now that we're going into that direction. Okay, Teofimo Lopez.
I don't think he wants to fight Subriel. You don't tell somebody you want to fight 2 months later.
I
Come on.
agree.
I don't. I
Yeah,
don't think he wants to fight.
yeah, he is scared for sure.
I respect every single fighter, but I don't think he wants to fight him. And then what they did yesterday, brother. I mean, you don't.
No,
You don't.
absolutely.
I mean, he said a whole lot without saying nothing.
I think he is very. I mean, the way that he planned. I mean, it's so strategical because Subriel Matias gets injured in his hand, and then suddenly they send an offer or a contract or whatever that they sent to you guys. We're gonna fight in February. Okay, but you can fight in April. You can fight in June, right? I mean,
They
you
had
can do
told
that.
him, and Subriel answered him and said, "We'll fight you in April or May." And Mr. Orengo offered a deal better than what they had offered. He
Yeah.
returned the deal better to what they had offered. Remember, they got money on this side too.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. It is absolutely true. Okay. Do you want Subriel Matias to be an undisputed champion? Is that something you're looking forward to?
Of course, what trainer doesn't work for that dream, for that thing. Suriel, is a guy who makes weight easy. Another thing I thought was kind of funny about Teofimo saying that Suriel was about 190 pounds. On a video that he's seen, or I don't know, where Suriel is talking his crap or whatever he's doing. I don't get involved, but he says Suriel is 190 pounds. I don't think I ever seen Suriel 190 pounds, not even out of camp. But
Okay.
you know, I would love to see Suriel. It's going to be hard, bro. It's going to be hard to get him to become an undisputed world champion, um, because probably two of the world champions there are not willing to fight him.
And
You,
who's that?
the WBA and the WBO.
I agree with that. I think that's true.
I
I
think
think
he signs it immediately. I think, but he's not going to sign it like as easy as Barboza for just whatever type of money. He's going to want to be the A+. He's going to want to do this, and it's going to want to do that. But I'm sure that he'll fight Subriel.
well, Teofimo Lopez claims he's undisputed in 135. So there's nothing much to say.
135. We're not at 135.
No, no, I know, but I'm saying he's claiming that he's an undisputed champion at 135, which is not true because he got the franchise belt. And now at 140, he says he already beat the best because he beat Josh Taylor. And because he
Who
beat
didn't
Josh
want to fight?
Taylor.
Didn't want to fight Subriel Matias.
Hmm.
The,
Yeah.
the, that's the same Josh Taylor, right?
Yeah,
That
the
that
same Josh
handed
Taylor.
his belt because he didn't want to fight Subriel Matias.
Yeah. And he
Okay.
didn't fight for 1 year. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
because I was just in Dubai with Josh Taylor's his team, and one of them said, shit, we weren't going to take that fight. We'd rather fight Teofimo for more money.
Yeah, that's really sad. I hope we do see Undisputed. Okay, Coach Panda. Anything else you want to say
Oh, just,
to your fans, public, everybody, or to follow you, whatever? You go ahead.
just thank you guys, man, and thank Golden Arrow for being a good, real boxing fans and asking real questions and um, getting us coaches on these things and trying to clear things out. I know people are not going to agree with me, and people are going to say, but that's just part of the sport. But again, I respect each and every one of these fighters. I believe every one of them have gained the respect, but I do believe it's tough for people to fight a fighter like Subriel Matias, who doesn't have the most beautiful style in the world, but knows that with any one of his hands he can do a lot of damage, and probably ruin somebody's night, and things like that. But I mean, I want to leave a message clear to Arnold Barboza, and I'm still pushing, man. I don't know what deal they're making here with Matchroom. That's not my job. I'm just a coach. When they tell me this is who he's fighting, I have to prepare for that type of fighter. Right now they're telling me Leon Paro, so I'm preparing for a Leon Paro, but I mean,
Yeah.
the Golden Boy can contact Juan if they're interested, and sometimes just our team has to push for our people. They have to
Right.
people and things like that. So I know Ryan and Devin are fighting here pretty soon. That's
What do you
gonna.
think about that fight? Who do you think is going to win?
I think Devin. I think Devin only has one hard fight in this sport, and that's called Subriel Matias.
Okay, you think it's going to be
I
Subriel
think
Matias?
that
Okay.
he swipes through the division, and he has to prove himself with the Subriel Matias, with the guy that's not afraid, with the guy that's not gonna take
I think Panda, you think you froze there for a second. So creo que se congeló ahí un segundo. Oh yeah, okay. Go ahead, Panda. You froze there for a second.
Yeah, so I think his test, you know, I think his test, to become, for people to say, man, Devin Haney is it. His name is Subriel Matias out of Fajardo, Puerto Rico.
There you go. And we will be pushing for these fights, and we'll be definitely putting some real pressure to Ronda Romero and Pitbull Cruz and Teofimo Lopez too. We are hated for a reason, but we will keep doing that, and we will push. We will do from our part the best that we can to see this fight, regardless of who wins. So, thank you, Mr. Panda, for being part of this interview. Really appreciate it. I'll call you probably back to have another interview a little bit further down the road, and we'll keep pushing for the best fights here as we usually do.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
All right, you too. Enjoy the rest and have yourself a great day. All right, so voy a tener alguna de estas conversaciones que voy a tener aquí y lo voy a poner en algunos clips en español. Tuvimos una entrevista muy buena aquí en Golden, hacemos las mejores entrevistas y, ya se clarificaron muchas cosas y ya de ahí vamos a ir adelante. Tenía que hacerlo en inglés porque también hay muchas personas que tenemos que son de Estados Unidos también, pero voy a romper unos cuantos clips aquí en español y yo los sacaré de aquí porque preguntamos muy buenas preguntas aquí. So, así es como es. Aquí no damos paz a tregua. El próximo va a ser Arnold Barbosa y también tendremos aquí a Bill Haney. Esperemos tener a Bill Haney aquí también. So, vamos a seguir adelante. So, pisa por todo el mundo, damos su like, suscríbete al mejor canal de boxeo en español e inglés. Sin cuestión de duda, Golden Era. All right, peace up y os veo hasta la próxima. Deuces.